ご機嫌だな、夜葉。
もちろんだよ。いや、不機嫌だ。最後の炎魔法と言ったら危うくマッドワームことローストチキンになるところだったじゃないか。あれ、ローストチキン？
I love chicken, Daddy!
What's going on, anime enthusiasts? Just finished another episode of the Banished Court Magician, and episode 2 is just another continuation of that feels good type of vibe. Now we're getting the gang back together again. Time for the top 4 of the academy 4 years ago to get back together, the lasting party, to go on another adventure. And the story is, very light, and it's just all about the characters and, what they do and going on from there. We do mention like the prince and royalty and things, but this is more about adding in the last 2 members of the party, show them off and get their personalities and quirks out of the way. And then we go off to do something important as far as the whole party is concerned. So with that, in the beginning we get a little flashback, or like a callback scene to the academy days, where everybody at the academy, sort of like at a graduation kind of thing or evaluation, that everybody's glazing the lasting period party on what they've done. The headmaster, I'm assuming, or a head teacher, is naming them off, and we finally get to see the other 2 characters besides, Yorha. We get Ornis Rain and Krasia Aneros, and afterwards they have a little fun with the headmaster, and while they're seemingly leaving the academy, Alex stops them and he's gonna tell them, yo, I'm gonna be a court magician. And his other friends, well, might as well be friends, they're supportive of his decision. And well, during the whole thing, it's very interesting in the dialogue that he mentions that he wants to become a court magician despite what his father says. And when he mentions father, they do show Eldest, which makes me wonder if Alec considers Eldest his dad, because he never mentioned his dad ever, even in the first episode, nor does Eldest. They only mention his mother, his late mother. So that's a very interesting story detail that's been revealed. But like in the first episode, when Yorha got Alec and said, we promised, to make a party when we met back up. This is the promise. You see them as they throw out their hands to make a promise that when they make it big, they'll party up and, go on an adventure. Cutting back to now the present day, and it's a very comedic scene. Yorha gets drunk off of 1 mug after their little practice in the dungeon. And then some bozo just shows up and tries to test Alec for some reason, about to break a bottle over his head. And somehow he kind of knows Alec. Then Yorha wakes up from her drunken stupor and is like, "Hey, Guildmaster, what are you doing here?" And the Guildmaster kind of places down this ID card, but it's actually the adventure pass. And he says, "Yo, I'll give you this adventure pass if you show me your magic." And so we move to the underground arena, and the Guildmaster, wants to have a one-on-one fight with Alec. And Alec, just has to impress him with his magic. And also, we now know the Guildmaster's name. His name is Leviel Stans. And Alec says, "Oh, he's a powerful mage who led a S-rank party back in the day." And afterwards, we square off. And I just want to point out, this whole 1v1 fight between Alec and Leviel lasts for a good while, estimating a good 4 minutes of animation, both of them casting magic as they're both mages, at range, and they do a lot of close combat, like melee combat, even though they are mages, which is also, you know, interesting in respect, seeming though, because they're both mages. But I won't say it's like the granddaddy, you know, 60 FPS. You can see every single frame and animation, every drawing kind of like animation. No, this is more, I'd say it's above average. You know, you can enjoy yourself. You've seen everything. They don't repeat too many things, if not anything at all, really. I did see like a few repeat animations here and there, but it doesn't take away from the whole fact that Alec is holding his own against, you know, an S rank person. And towards about halfway through, Leviel, after being shown up a little bit, he shows off Dragneel, a very powerful magic artifact that he has. And while Leviel's got the upper hand over Alec, you know, gets a little bit of headway, and he creates a few openings, lands a few good strikes. But unfortunately, he just runs out of mana at the end, and he just passes out, and that pretty much declares him a loser. But the Guildmaster was impressed enough and was willing to pass him. Also at the same time, towards the end, Ornus rolls up. You know, he's like talking to Alec, but Alec's already passed out. He can't do anything. So after they move Alec to a back room, Yorha and Ernest talk to each other, and Ornus is getting all the details on what Alec has been through in the courts. And Ornus, like a very good friend, the enforcer, the big brother of the group, he gets really, really angry for Alec, up to the point to where he just crushes the bottle in his hand. And I really appreciate that. Seeing how Ornus really isn't just like a meathead kind of a character. He's really reliable. You can count on him for anything. And should anything happen to you, he's gonna step up and make sure that you're okay. With his sword and fists, he fights. Once Alec wakes up, and Alec kind of tries to calm Ornus down from what Alex has been doing to royalty, Ornus kind of drives the idea that the party should become the strongest in the world to get back at the prince and all of his cronies and whatnot. And that's, you know, very admirable. Then later on, we get a scene where the Guildmaster is called back to another room, and we see this very injured adventurer called Krista. And the Guildmaster is like, okay, what happened to Recroma, your party? Next scene, they're trying to put together a rescue party for the Recroma party that Christy's a part of. They're stuck on floor 64, that is colloquially called the tank killer level. Okay, some dangerous things there. So while they're having the meeting, Alec isn't part of the meeting. He's just sitting in his room, sitting in the back room. And the final fourth member that we see, Gracia, she shows up, and she's the opposite of Ornus in several ways. She's like the big sister, looking over Alex. You know, she pats him on the head, she heals him up, she specializes in healing magic. And it's very a wholesome, heartwarming moment. She doesn't really like want to hear the spiel of everything. She just wants to make sure that, you know, Alec, if you need anything, you can talk to me. That's it. I was like, man, these four characters have like a really good part, not only like party dynamic, but like a friendship dynamic. Each and every one of them respect each other, they'll look out for each other. It's gotten to the point to where if you watch this with like your other friends, each one of you can be like, hey, I'm Alec, you're Gracia, you're definitely Ornus, and you over there, yeah, you're Yorha. So it's nice. And then the Guildmaster, well, Ornus and Yorha come in, and they give the details of what's going on. That lasting period will be heading into the dungeon with the Guildmaster's ad hoc party. And Alec doesn't feel like he deserves to go. And this is getting to what Alec is still dealing with. Like, he's still dealing with the habits and the quirks that he's picked up with the court magician. Like all of these years that he's been with the prince, like he's just been doing only support magic. He couldn't even use his sword. He couldn't really be offensive. And all those years of being molded into this kind of person, it's kind of dawned on, it's kind of like broken him mentally, not completely, but it's made him think that he can't do as much, even though that he has shown the potential to be even greater than he already is. And it takes everyone in the party to, you know, convince him otherwise, and for him to see past and break those habits. And then the episode ends with all of them in front of the dungeon where Alec, you know, is part of the party, and all of them line up, and it's a really cool shot of them looking forward, and it's 4 Academy friends back together once again, ready to do a dungeon. And that's it. I mean, this anime, it's not gonna have like the most grandiose story, as I, you know, said in the previous episode and video. It's just a very, you know, feels good fantasy adventure. 4 friends that are pretty powerful individually, but together they are gonna be monstrous, and you're just gonna see like a good old time of action and fantasy and adventure. That's it. That's pretty much what I'm gonna repeat most of the time when I watch this. And like I said, and I've said before, it's a palate cleanser. You know, if you're thinking about watching an anime and you need something that's not gonna be too heavy on anything, and you just want to turn on something just to pass the time and enjoy, pick up the Banished Court Magician. That's what it is. I mean, right now it's in the middle of me watching My Stats at Assassin, and then after this I'm going to be watching Plus Size Adventure, and then after Plus Size Adventure I'm going to be watching another episode of Gnosia. So for me, the Court Magician is like, you know, a very nice in the middle. I can just kick back and relax and have fun. With that being said, did you all have fun watching this? Or is there something that there's more about this episode that you want to touch up on? If you do, you know, leave a comment below. And if you like the video, like it, subscribe if you want to subscribe, all that good YouTuber jazz. But with that out of the way, I hope you all have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I hope your day is just a little bit better as of this. With that, I'll catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.